Okay, let's get to what y'all all want to hear. Ever since the whole closing argument thing has ended, all my messages look the same. All y'all want to know, do you think he guilty? Do you think he not guilty? I'm going to try to put y'all in my mind frame the best way I can, in the most unbiased way that I can, to help y'all see the way that I'm viewing this case. There are two key things from the closing argument that I feel like the jury is going to consider when looking at this case and determining whether or not he's guilty. The pin that was dropped close to the Miramar Hospital and the overall thoroughness of the investigation. Depending on which one the juror finds to be more important is going to determine what decision they make in terms of guilty and not guilty. Because the pin drop is compelling evidence for the fact that even though Melly's lawyers are arguing that he wasn't the sole user of the phone, they didn't present any testimony to negate him having the phone that night that was clear enough for the jury. Like, it's like they indirectly said it, but they didn't say it. And they also didn't pin it on anybody else. If they would have said, like, oh, Cortland had his phone, it would have been like, okay, that would have been something that the jury had to consider. But they more so leaving that up to the imagination. And since it's being left up to the imagination, the prosecution is grabbing it and they said, look, he had the phone at this time. A pin got sent and it was him. If they believe that Melly was the one who sent that pin and don't believe Adrian's testimony that he lost his phone, and the other thing would be that if he lost his phone, how did he get it back? Because Cortland was in the hospital, so he wasn't the one who dropped the pin. So who was? Now, for me, it's coming back to the mystery phone in itself, because I feel like ever since I heard that evidence, I can't get over it. But I feel as though if they feel like Melly had the phone and he's the one who dropped that pin to Fredo Bain to come pick him up, whether or not he picked him up or not, or whatever the case may be, if they believe that he had the phone in his possession at that time to drop that pin, they're going to find him guilty that he did the murder. On the other hand, let's go towards the not guilty side. We can all agree that the overall investigation was botched. There were plenty of things that were done that could have been done differently. There are plenty of avenues of investigation that just didn't get traveled down. But it depends on how important the jury thinks that is to the overall case. Now, I know y'all, if y'all thinking what I'm thinking, you looking like, come on now, the investigation is everything. Which is why I believe that if I was a juror, I would find him not guilty, because the idea of there being a more thorough investigation not only presents more suspects, but even if he did it, it would present more proof. And I feel like they're lacking evidence that it was him in the car at the time of the murder with the gun. And the evidence that they're using for a motive is bullshit. And I'm sorry, I can't get over the motive thing. They don't got to prove the why, but I can't get over the reason that they saying it. That just don't make sense. Money? No. But that's neither here nor there. I feel as though, in an unbiased way, I would say not guilty, because at the very least, if they did a more thorough investigation, they would have more evidence to prove that he was guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. The doubt doesn't even come from any of the evidence that the prosecution is touching on. The doubt comes from the fact that they did their job. And it's hard to believe that they didn't target him when basic forms and things and training that's needed in an investigation, they just jumped over it. But all in all, I do believe that the prosecution did a better job at wrapping up all the points together than they did in the midst of the trial. And y'all, it's nothing we could do at this point but like have good hopes and have good faith. But it's 50-50. That's why I stand. It's 50-50. It depends on what type of person you are, and it depends on what you find more important. Do you find that cell phone pin drop more important, or do you find Detective Moretti not doing his job more important? What do y'all think? Guilty, not guilty? Comment down below.